Are we in the Matrix? No. Hi, I'm Keanu Reeves. And answer some questions.
I'm about to tell you why Hollywood calls him the saddest and, somehow, the kindest man on the screen, the inimitable devil's advocate, and the funniest Ted I ever met on VHS nights. I'm talking about Keanu Reeves. Why did Al Pacino dislike him at first? How did Keanu brush past death more than once? And what did he sacrifice just to step inside the Matrix? You'll know in minutes. Before we get lost in the story, hit subscribe and tap the bell be first when new video biographies drop. Pressed it. Either way, you're breathtaking. Let's go. I begin where the wine has a name. Keanu Charles Reeves, born September 2, 1964, in Beirut, Lebanon. His father brought Hawaiian and Portuguese roots. His mother, English and Irish ones. His name in Hawaiian means cool breeze over the mountains, beautiful. But breezes can turn cold. His father wasn't a steady presence. No higher education, and the diploma he eventually earned came from inside a Hawaiian prison, doing time for selling heroin at the airport. Selling bled into using, and using cracked a family. 2 years after Keanu, his sister Kim was born. By age 3, their father had abandoned the house. Arrests followed. Alimony didn't. At 13, on Kauai, Keanu saw him for the last time. He would later say, simply, "I didn't have a father. Maybe I wanted one." You feel it most when you grow and need a man's advice. But Sam, he was a stranger. His mother, Patricia, carried the load. She moved to Sydney hunting better work. First as an assistant organizer of performances. Money was thin. Life was expensive. Men came and went. The New York another move. Another shock to two kids who just learned Australia's light. In New York, I slipped behind the curtain. For the first time with her, she'd found theater work. The machinery of shows, the ropes, the dark, the whispered cues felt like home. Kids become what they see every day. I saw theater. I breathed theater. Choosing otherwise felt unlikely. Everything shifted again when Patricia married Broadway director Paul Aaron. We moved to Toronto. And that's when Canada became home in my head. Patricia pivoted into costume design. Better than that, she was good. She built looks for Emmylou Harris, Dolly Parton, David Bowie. Meanwhile, Paul walked me into rehearsals like it was normal life. I was the kid bringing soda to Lillian Gish. The summer Star Wars took over marquees. Cinema these days. She sighed, and I was in awe. Paul and my mom didn't last long, but he stayed in our lives. That mattered. School didn't. Dyslexia hit both me and Kim and made classrooms into hard places. Ridicule burns slow. You learn to shrink. I retreated. Then I found a game I could win. Chess. I challenged grown-ups. In parks for $1 a match and learned to think 3 moves ahead when words wouldn't sit still on a page. Patricia married again rock promoter Robert Miller, and our sister Karina was born. I bounced through schools. Even a performing arts one. Always clashing with teachers. Always looking out the window. I'd skip class to ride my bike to the Bloor Street Cinema and sit in the dark with salty popcorn, not even caring what was playing. I just needed the screen. My first show, Damn Yankees at 9. Critics didn't spare me. Adults got roasted, and so did the kid. Confidence took a hit, then a new love, hockey. I lived in the crease. Teammates called me the wall, but at 14, an injury felt like a verdict. Doctors said no more. Losing the ice hurt more than words could carry. So I left school. No diploma. I moved out. I sharpened skates at the rink, cut bushes in parks, cooked in an Italian restaurant. And the man who kept believing in me, Paul Aaron, nudged me toward auditions. That's how doors cracked open. The first jolt of attention came with Wolf Boy in 1983. 2 boys. A psychiatric ward. First love. Local fame followed. So did insults on the street. I picked up a youth TV correspondent gig. In 1984, I showed up in a Coca-Cola ad and hung in an episode. Every small part mattered. then Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, and critics finally used good near my name. That was fuel. TV kept calling Heat of the Night. Comedy Factory plus a Kellogg's Cornflakes commercial. Then the first feature, Young Blood. A hockey goalkeeper again, opposite Patrick Swayze. I moved to Los Angeles with a green card Paul helped me get. Agent Derwin Stoff wanted me to change my name, Chuck Spadina. I joked, the name stayed, and the work multiplied. 1986 was a flood 8 projects. Some TV movies. A short film with a first lead. I turned down Platoon Pacifism won that fight and watched Charlie Sheen carry it to the Oscars. Did I regret it? I didn't let myself dwell. I kept moving. River's Edge landed with critics. Under the Influence drew praise. The wheel was turning. Then Danger wore lace. Dangerous Liaisons brought me into an A-list cast Malkovich. Pfeiffer, Uma Thurman. The film took home 3 Oscars. I took home criticism. I didn't splurge on a house. I bought a motorcycle and chased night air through California hills until I almost chased it off a cliff. A week in the hospital, broken ribs, a torn spleen. Kim came to take care of me. When I healed, I went back to riding. Risk wasn't a hobby, it felt like thinking. I worried I'd never escape the teen guy box. And then Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure hit. It was lightning bottled in a phone booth. Alex Winter and I had auditioned for the opposite roles at first and then swapped. The Van Time Machine turned into a phone booth to avoid Back to the Future vibes. It became a cult. Cartoons, comics, a sequel, a meme. The fear that I'd be Ted forever. Parenthood with Ron Howard earned the film major nominations and gave me room to breathe on screen. I Love You to Death let me play dirty shady morals. Bad Habits, and then I met River Phoenix. We were 2 kids with complicated roots and the same heat for a brighter future. He fell for motorcycles. I brushed the edge of heavier things that wafted around Los Angeles like air. Mostly, we just became brothers who believed in each other. Gus Van Sant's My Own Private Idaho needed faith more than money, and I had it. He dreamed of me and River as the leads. I rode my bike for miles to hand River the script myself. We prepped in a house that turned into a nightly jam session music. Youth. Energy? Vincent wanted improvisation, and River wrote his own version of the campfire scene that cut too. The bone about love and sex. Critics listened. They understood. Another door opened. Then the ocean roared. Point Break. Patrick was supposed to be Johnny Utah. He argued he was Bodie. I trained with FBI agents and a football team. And the 3 of us, me, Patrick, and Lori Petty learned to surf from scratch. People later argued about the physics of a midair catch without a parachute. The movie didn't care. It caught anyway. Critics were lukewarm, the box office warm, and Time crowned it cult. I picked up MTV's Most Attractive Nod and something else, Momentum. At the same time, I picked up a bass and met Robert Mailhouse in a grocery line. We formed Dogstar, experimented night after night, toured, and released music. Art doesn't always choose a lane. Winona Ryder brought Dracula to Coppola, and I said yes when my body wanted sleep. He wanted authenticity. He even brought a real priest to marry us on screen. Critics hated my accent like it had wronged them personally. Coppola, for all his early frustration, called me kind and generous. I held on to that. Little Buddha took me to Kathmandu and Bhutan. The crew suffered the kind of food poisoning that makes weight loss an accident. I needed to lose weight for a scene. An orange diet and a bad stomach did the job. The movie earned love for how it looked. That was enough. October 31st, 1993, River Phoenix died of an overdose. If sadness has a limit, I found something past it. I cried for hours and discovered there aren't words for certain rooms of grief. Work kept coming. Much Ado About Nothing found an audience while I picked up a Razzie nomination. Even Cowgirls Get the Blues stumbled even though our hearts were in it. And then a bus. I said no to Speed at first. It felt like Die Hard on wheels. Then Joss Whedon rewired Jack as a calm, kind protector, someone who listened as much as he acted. Sandra Bullock and I clicked instantly. The haircut panicked the studio, and I did 90% of the stunts while carrying River's absence quietly. The film exploded. I hit the A-list. Fox begged for Speed 2. I said no. Years later, that no still feels right. Johnny Mnemonic became a cult after the fact, even if the numbers said otherwise. A Walk in the Clouds became beloved by viewers even as awards ignored it. Chain Reaction was filmed in a winter that bit, and it barely warmed box office math. Feeling Minnesota gave me a cigarette habit. Not my proudest souvenir. On stage, Winnipeg's Hamlet offered redemption. Critics used words like fresh and spontaneous. It felt like proof. I could still surprise. Then came The Devil's Advocate. It almost became a fireworks show about a devil with laser eyes. Rewrites pulled it closer to people. Al Pacino said no 5 times. I took a lower fee so he could say yes once. He matched that with charity. On set, he kept shape-shifting different reads. Different energies just to see if I could dance with him. I could. The film earned a Saturn Award. I earned a little more trust. I've never been loud about my personal life. Hotels felt easier than houses. I helped family, gave to causes, and bought the one thing that always made sense to me, motorcycles. Then my neck warned me that risk collects a bill. A scan showed displaced cervical vertebrae. I needed surgery. I asked the next production for time. They gave it. The Matrix had been turned down by half the town pit. McGregor, Cruise, DiCaprio, Cage, Will Smith. The script hooked me. I dove into philosophy ideas about reality and symbols and what's real when your senses can be fooled. Yuan Whooping trained us until our bodies believed they had always known how to fight. I worked through pain, through that cursed triple kick that took 21 takes, through a subway fight with Hugo Weaving that devoured days. For the pod scene, I shaved my head and eyebrows so my hair could grow back while we shot the rest. Small sacrifices save big schedules. March 31st, 1999, the film dropped. People went back 3 times, then 10. Emails poured in. Suddenly, strangers wore dusters like we'd invented coats. The movie didn't just entertain, it rewired how a lot of us saw screens. And that's where I close this chapter. A kid without a father. A goalie called the wall. A backstage rat who became a leading man. An actor who kept getting knocked down by criticism and kept standing anyway. I lost things: hockey, time, a friend I loved like family, and I kept going. I'm not sure if sad or kind fits better. Maybe? What matters is that I tried to make other people's days lighter whenever I could. If you want the deep breakdown of The Matrix, the hidden references, the 7% details most missed, and how the biggest stunts were actually pulled off, I've got that lined up next. Tap into it, and if this story landed for you, it genuinely helps when you like, subscribe, and share with a friend who loves film stories. Thanks for spending this time with me. You're breathtaking. See you in the next one.